Hello everyone, Violet here. Welcome to a completely new angle because we're gonna have a new focus today. I don't really talk much about contemporary romance on the channel. No offense to contemporary romance, it's fun, but not normally my focus. But today we're gonna focus on that because this wonderful friend is my contemporary romance shelf. You can tell it's not my primary focus because this has one mini shelf and historical has two full size shelves that are brimming with books. But we do still need to read from the physical shelves here because this is the paperback, mass market paperback section, and this is the trade paperback and hardcover section. And you might be able to tell I have no room here anymore, and I have some new arrivals for contemporary. So this one, I'm Your Girl by J.J. Murray, I think I can find a home for on here. But this stack though. So we need to make some changes. I'm probably just gonna pick like 5 books and just be pretty ruthless with it, just because like I need space. Out of space, you know? So yeah. But I guess now would be a good time to go through what I got for this. So, okay. Give me a second. I believe the trans rights readathon is either just ended or is like about to come to a close when I film this. So I think I'm gonna read Make Room for Love by Darcy Liao. So yeah, this is gonna be the first one for, support people right now. There are a lot of really horrible laws happening right now to demonize trans people in the US, and it's really messed up and I do not care for it. And so yeah, trans people deserve a lot better from this country and from my reading. So we're gonna read this one. And then going to slightly goofier stuff. Oh yeah, we're gonna do a bunch of Book of the Month ones. So These Summer Storms by Sarah MacLean, Passion Project by London Sperry, The Favorites by Lane Fargo, and This Close to Okay by Lisa Cross Smith. So these 5 are going to be what I try this month, which I guess this will probably mostly be in April. But we're going to hope that I like some of these and don't like others of these, so I have room on my shelf. All right, well, I'm going to put all these back and deal with that, and I will talk to you all later. Bye. Hey everyone, back with an update on Passion Project by London Sperry. This is Sperry's debut novel. Very exciting for her to have a Book of the Month as her debut. So this is about Bennett, and she is living in New York City as a temp worker. She is very depressed and very, very anxious after the death of her boyfriend. And her roommate slash BFF just basically tries to set her up on this date with this guy named Henry, and she proceeds to not go on the date with him and instead have a massive panic attack and go to the Italian restaurant next door, get super drunk, eat carbonara, and then throw up. So on her way out, she runs into Henry, her date, and then just sort of runs out of the restaurant after that. And the next day, she ends up crossing paths with him again because she loses her wallet at the restaurant and goes to get it back, and he's the bartender there. And they, on a whim, kind of strike up a sort of quasi-friendship situation, and Henry decides to help her discover her passion because his passion is photography, and she doesn't know what her passion is. And he's like, we should I'm gonna help you find your passion and we can be friends. And she's like, okay, but we're not gonna be like romantic. And he's like, we're not gonna be romantic. We're just gonna go hang out a lot in ways that are kind of like dates. He's not insidious. I want to be clear. I think this is just two people in a lot of denial about what's going on with their whole thing. Not that you can't hang out with a person of the opposite sex in a way that's not, like, romantic. You definitely can, but this is a romance novel, so, you know. So I got about 20% through this, and I'm gonna DNF it. Now, I say this a lot on Historical Romance Readdown, which is where I'm also doing a lot of ruthless DNFs, etc. This is not bad. I think the writing's perfectly fine. This is first person, single point of view, present tense, you know, so you're very much in Bennett's head. Henry, as far as what I got through anyway, does not have a point of view. This is a stylistic choice that I think I don't prefer and is maybe part of why I don't really connect with a lot of modern contemporary romance, is that I really like dual POV and I also tend to prefer third person in general. But like, it's not poorly told or anything like that. I think where I'm hitting a snag, and this is not specific to this book, but I think we all need to have a conversation about what a rom-com is. Now, this is not really because of this book necessarily, but I was reminded of it because I read The Nightmare Before Christmas recently, a book that is billed as a quirky rom-com. It is not quirky, technically a romance, and not a comedy at all. It super isn't. Like, tonally it isn't, none of it is, right? And this book is attempting more jokes. It actually has more whimsy, despite the fact that our heroine is, like, reeling from the death of her boyfriend. But her anxiety and the death of her boyfriend are, like, very on page. Like, all of the baggage that she is grappling with is very front and center in this book. And a lot of this is, like, her, clearly going to be her kind of growing more emotionally stable through this relationship with Henry. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But I don't think that's funny, you know? Like, it's not, that's not funny. That's not wacky. I feel like we at some point decided that, like, rom-com is equivalent to, like, kind of lighthearted and upbeat, and it's not. Like, a comedy is funny, and there are jokes and, like, silly things that happen that aren't our heroines, like, dealing with a panic attack. So, yeah, I think I was just like, this is not a thing that I really want out of contemporary romance, is I guess what I've realized. Like, and especially if you're billing it as a rom-com, I don't really want this project from a rom-com. I don't really want to be like, wow, this character's really anxious and really stressed and really exhausted. And also, I'll also say, I think we've also hit a weird situation that I feel like there was an era where books for women were either described as romance or chick lit, right? In the early 2000s, like the Sophie Kinsella's, somewhat Jennifer Cruzy stuff, and they were like stories about women finding themselves, but we didn't like the term chick lit. It was considered like really pejorative at the time, and I get it, it is kind of like demeaning in some ways, but I have associated that with a very specific tone, and it is, frankly, what I would consider the rom-com tone. And at some point in time, I think we changed from calling things chick lit to women's fiction. And when we got to women's fiction, things got really serious. And I feel like contemporary romance in a lot of ways is hitting like women's fiction as opposed to chick lit and still calling things rom-coms. that's my theory about why we're in the state that we're in right now. So again, passion project, it's cute. Henry seems like so nice and so open and so forgiving and so willing to just hang out with this woman who's clearly spiraling. And you're like, and I'm like, what? I don't really get why he is so into that, except for the fact that I think he likes to collect people to, like, mother, kind of. That's sort of the energy that I'm getting. Which is, it turns out it's fine when your heroine's a complete disaster, and I think he's got a lot of those, like, cinnamon roll energy things, and there's nothing wrong with the cinnamon roll. But yeah, this one's just not for me, particularly since I think there's not going to be a lot of external plot here to really ground stuff either. It's going to be very much internal about her dealing with things and him being very, like, there for her, which is totally fine, but not what I'm really vibing with right now. So, Passion Project by London Sperry is going to go to another home. So, yeah, we're off to, I don't know if this is a good start, but it's a start, and I will talk to you all when I have another update. Hello! I'm back with an update, because I have finished These Summer Storms by Sarah MacLean. Okay, so this is Sarah MacLean's contemporary fiction debut. She is most known and has, I think, exclusively written historical romances before this book. So yeah, this is a bit of a change of pace for her, but for those of you who are worried, she is going back to historicals. She has, I think, Mastermind is supposed to come out this year at some point. So, These Summer Storms is about Alice Storm, who is the daughter of Franklin Storm, a, like, basically, like, Steve Jobs-esque tech billionaire who was married, had 4 children, and has died recently. Now, Alice's whole deal is that she was basically exiled from the family 5 years ago, so she's been, like, doing everything on her own without her daddy's money for quite a while now. And this is her first time coming back to their island, the family island, since she's been exiled. And it turns out that there's sort of two things. First of all, Dad has set up an inheritance game. All of the kids have various tasks, and so let's see, yeah, all of them have various tasks, and also, she ran into this really hot guy on the train over, and it turns out that they had a one-night stand, and then it turns out that that really hot guy is her dad's fixer / business dude, who's kind of shady, but is still really hot and very into her. So it's like a lot of drama. This is rich people drama, the book, okay? So, I mean, I was entertained, all right? These people, this family, my God, they are a mess. They are emotionally stunted. They are super mean to each other. They say horrible things to each other all the time, dig into each other constantly, and yet don't actually have a real conversation, right? So that is, like, a lot of what this is, and a lot of this is these siblings fighting for most of this book. And somewhat grieving, but mostly fighting because they don't think that they should grieve because they're emotionally stunted. So, I mean, I was entertained. Julia Wayland narrated the audiobook, and I thought she was very good in this. Not super familiar with her, not because, I mean, I know of her, and she is very, very prolific audiobook narrator, but I just don't read a lot of contemporaries, so I don't really cross paths with her much. But she was very good in this. Like, there are scenes where 6 people are talking, she's just bouncing between all the voices, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, and Alice's relationship with Jack, the fixer, shady guy, is pretty interesting. You know, he's got a lot going on. It is so clear that Sarah MacLean writes historicals. Like, Jack Dean is such a Lisa Kleypas hero in so many ways. Like he's So, like, not quite Derek Craven, because he's not as, like, he's not the top guy, but, like, the vibe is, like, he could have been a bare knuckle boxer. You know what I mean? Like, that's the vibe, you know? So it's so clear that you wrote historical romance, and including all of the, like, oh my god, my parents are super rich and mean to me, and I have to deal with all that. I have to decouple my trauma from that before I can move on as a person. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It is real dramatic and real intense, and there's many a twist, oh my, about big feelings about, you know, your parents sucking and you having to deal with that as an adult. And, like, how long are you going to let that define you as a person, right? So, not technically a romance, though there is a romantic sort of B-plot in here. I'd actually say there are two. And so, yeah, it really shouldn't have been on my contemporary romance shelf, but I don't really have a general fiction or, like, a contemporary fiction shelf, so it was there, and I knew it had a meaningful romance subplot in there. Regarding will I keep it, the answer is I don't think so. I don't see myself rereading this. Like, it was a fun time for the time, but I don't think I need to own this. So, yeah, this one, I think it's pretty solid. If you are interested, like, if you liked something like Succession, I think this, if you were there for the family drama of Succession as opposed to, like, the dark comedy of Succession, I think you would like this. So, yeah, would recommend, but I am not going to hang on to it. So, that's that, and I will get back to you when I have another update. Bye! Okay, so I read Make Room for Love by Darcy Liao. So this is about Mira, who is a South Asian trans femme, I believe they're in New York City, who is she is doing her PhD. So adjunct, is that what the term is? Something in that vein, right? She has recently gotten out of a, like, emotionally abusive relationship, and her friends are, like, at a club or whatever with her, and she leaves and she runs into the ex, and then is sort of swooped in and saved by Isabel, this East Asian butch woman, who sort of on a whim is like, hey, if you, like, need a place to live, then, like, I need a roommate for reasons. So they end up becoming roommates. Isabel is sort of reeling emotionally from the death of her sister, and so that has led her to be, like, both kind of closed off and also very, like, I have to be on top of everything all the time in every single way, and I can't ever be imperfect, you know, like, real classic, like, trying to become the older sister sort of situation. And Mira, meanwhile, has a lot of, like, confidence issues from the abusive relationship, and also believes that she is not into women at all. So that is sort of those are the sort of big things that sort of are the tension points in this book. So I thought this was super duper cute, pretty sexy as well. I think Mira and Isabel were both very likable characters, and there was, like, enough happening with them for there to still be, like, tension in the relationship and stuff like that. Though I will say I think this is kind of similar to my feelings with this, though I didn't finish this one. I did finish this one. Which is that I'm not sure if the sort of current project of contemporary romance is my thing. Like, these two are both so nice to each other, right? They are never, like, intentionally mean, which is a weird thing to say. Like, I want my characters to be meaner to each other, because I don't like alpha hole, like, heroes and stuff like that, but I do kind of like when people have more dynamic character flaws or bump up against each other more. I think I enjoy more of a combative relationship in romance by and large. And if you're going to have like a sweeter relationship, I think I like more plot, you know? But I also think that this is kind of a unique entity, right? I don't think I know of literally any other book with a like South Asian trans femme heroine and an East Asian butch lesbian. So I think that like the sort of lack of conflict or lack of like, we're gonna hurt each other intentionally, is like a deliberate choice to be like, you guys get to have like a soft, sweet book too. You know what I mean? Particularly when we're dealing with stories with that, when these characters or people with these identities would pop up in a lot of other stuff, it would probably be pretty traumatic. So I think this is sort of like a commentary situation happening here. So I think it was very, very cute, very solid, but I don't think I will reread this. So I actually reached out to a friend of mine and was like, hey, would you like this book? It has trans South Asian representation. And they're like, yeah. So yeah, I'll be mailing this to someone this week. But yeah, so I had such plans when I started this, okay? All right, look, I was gonna really tackle Book of the Month. I was going to read all 5 of these, okay? I was so prepared. I'm sure in like previous clips I was like, oh, these are all 5 I'm gonna read, right? And here's the thing, I'm 3 in, and I'm not gonna unhaul these, for the record. Favorites and this close to okay. But I realized that when I'm physically reading, I tend to like pick one book that I'm physically reading, and we only read that for the time period, right? So wildly, these 3 I actually had audiobooks for, which is why I was able to get through these. But these 2, I don't have. So I'd have to take time to physically read them, and I've got some books that I need to physically read that for the rest of the month. So these 2 are not going to happen in this video. And also I have another project that I need to read books physically for as well. Why did I pick a 5er? I don't know why I did that. We're doing 3. We're doing these 3. So if I learned anything from this, I did actually. I learned that my lack of desire to reach for contemporary is like legit. Like that it is not my go-to, at least not this era of contemporary, right? Like these 2 books are both solidly written. They have they're like both perfectly fine, but they are very low conflict, and I like higher conflict. And this book really shouldn't even have been on this shelf, but I don't have a general fiction shelf. And this is the one I liked the most because it had the most conflict. But I think it is telling that the book that really shouldn't be in the contemporary shelf is the one that had the most conflict in it. And even had the most conflict in the romantic relationship that was in here. So I think if I'm like want conflict, I don't think that both internal and external, honestly, I don't know if modern contemporaries are really where I'm going to get them. I think I'm going to have to go to romantic suspense or paranormal, romantasy, very high conflict, right? I just think the like audience for contemporary right now wants really sweet, sexy, but like low conflict books and about really nice people. And I just don't think I want that. I feel bad. I do. Particularly since, I'll be real, part of the reason I'm going to hold on to these is that I am pretty sure these are going to be high conflict. So, like, this is a reimagining of Wuthering Heights, which I don't think you can remake Wuthering Heights without conflict. I don't think that's possible. And this is, I think, a romance between, content warning, I guess, a woman who, like, saves a guy who is going to be doing like self-harm, and she's a therapist, but she does not tell him that she is a therapist. So So she kind of uses the, like, therapy tactics, but does not tell him that that's what's going on, right? So, like, inherently, pretty high conflict on both of these, right? So I am hopeful that these will go better whenever I read them. And, yeah, I will probably do this again, because the shelf is not really improved. The solution that I found in terms of space was that I just put Kennedy Ryan up with the paperbacks. The mass markets, which looks bad, but we're gonna stick with it for now until we figure this out. But yeah, of the 3, I finished 2 of them, and I am keeping none of them. This is getting gifted, and these 2 are going to go to whoever. I'm in a reading group. I might bring these and be like, hey, does anyone want these? So yeah. Well, this is such a mess. This video was I was like, I have such a great idea, and it went so pear-shaped. Whatever. Thank you all for watching this disaster, and I will talk to you later. Bye!